Here we fucking go. Welcome back to CollaboRadio, folks, the Plunderphonics podcast. Thank you so much for joining us again today. We have a very, very special guest with us today, so I'm going to open with it. We have Bill, known as Billinski, who is our special guest of the day. We also have Steve, who is known as ThinkFishTank.
Yo!
Yeah. And me, also known as Jack, also known as Jawka. Welcome to CollaboRadio, and here we go.
Sorry, was I supposed to say hi?
You did it! No, that counts.
Only if you want to.
Howdy, howdy.
I can paste that in. Howdy, howdy.
We'll just like cut it out, put it there. There you go.
Yeah, we got it. We can roll with that.
Rock and roll.
But yeah, thank you so much for sitting down with us today, Bill. I think this is the first time we've really had the opportunity to talk with you, and it's speaking for myself here, I'm slightly starstruck, just because like your music is
nonsense. But thank you. No, I'm very, very glad to be here. It's always fun to chat about music stuff. So
yeah,
I don't get the opportunity too often.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, Steve and I were just talking a little bit before we started rolling. Like we were trying to guess like when we first heard your stuff, and then that brought us back to we determined it was Sound Spectra. Way back in, I think you said it was November of 2011, Steve?
Yeah, I just looked it up, November 2011.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, I think that was the first time I heard your stuff. Shimmering Clouds and stuff.
Here's the year 10 years ago.
Oh, wow. Dude, yeah, exactly. Shimmering Clouds. Like as soon as I opened up the album, I was like, oh shit, this is the one with Shimmering Clouds on it, which was like my jam for a while.
Hey, thank you. That was one of the first few tracks I started to feel like, okay, I can get down with this.
Yeah.
That was a very fun album. Good Lord, I'm trying to look back. I think that was the first time I ever did anything with Pat and Dynamo, actually.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly, yeah.
How did you meet them?
Oh God, that is a good question. I'm really reaching back into the depths now.
I know, dude. It's like that's like 10, almost 10 years ago. Like that's crazy to think about.
I feel like I heard of Dynamo first. I know that, and I'm trying to think about where I feel like it was something on YouTube. I mean, obviously, we all kind of discovered ourselves through our Pogo love. I think initially. And I remember chatting with Dynamo. We started sending some tracks to each other way long ago. And I was uploading on Zibby file or some really horrible thing back in the day. Wow. That was 128 KB. And then Pat, I think he may have linked me to his stuff. And then I was just blown away. I was like, holy crap, this dude is good. How do I get to that point? I remember it was the first thing I was ever thinking. It was, I think Moonlight or something was something I heard. Or something with a moon in it. But yeah, and then we just started talking at some point. I remember first reaching out to Dynamo, but I cannot remember the first time I talked to P.SUS. I might have just been like, hey man, love your stuff. Any tips? Or something along those lines. I don't know.
That's usually how the relationships start.
Yeah.
That's from my experience, at least. It's just like, hey, I like your music, and how can I do this stuff better? It's
like, hey, bro, I like your stuff too. What do you know?
I know, it's so dope. I love our little community and all the funny stories of how everyone, quote unquote, met through the internet.
Yeah, it's wild.
Well, I'm glad, at least, and unfortunately, I guess I'm not, like I said, not being a little bit of a closet in or something, but it is good seeing that Geesh and Pat and everybody all seems like they regularly keep contact and go visit and stuff. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I was supposed to be in England visiting our boy Geesh.
Oh boy,
just last month. Oh man, it's just so sad that that didn't happen with the coronavirus. But
yeah, weird times, man.
Yeah,
weird times. But yeah, the other thing we were reminiscing about briefly, because a little peek behind the curtain, we got the time zones all fucked up. So me and Jack were sitting in here for a little bit. And one thing I kind of remembered but couldn't quite totally wrap my brain around was I think you were on YouTube before Billinski, right? And you had a different name, but I can't think of what it was.
Honestly, I think it was just Bilbo.
That's kind of what I was leaning towards, yeah.
Which I feel like has been out there too. But yeah, like Bilbo, and of course some butthead took it the first time, so too many Bilbos running around. And so like Bilbo 1 2 3 or 0 1 2 3. I'm pretty sure something like that. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how I first heard your music on YouTube.
And that's where I put it on YouTube because I didn't know any other platforms to put it on.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What year do you think that was that you started producing stuff?
I mean, honestly, it first started, I would say right around 2008 or 9. It was when I first actually started. I mean, I think I got FL Studio around that time due to Pogo. I'm pretty sure it was an interview with Pogo where he mentioned FL Studio, and I was like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And weirdly is that my music, I think, is probably some of the most different from his, like in our little circle. But he obviously was a huge influence at the time. And so, yeah, probably around 2008 or 9, I just did a bunch of tracks, would show it to my friends, very kind of like conspicuous, like just in the car, like, hey, man, can you check this out real quick? Like, what do you think? And, didn't want like big groups of anybody or, that very self-conscious period. I mean, hell, that never goes away.
Yeah.
But I think I actually started uploading stuff on like a few little beat forums and share a few on my Facebook and then from there I don't know where the YouTube started, probably around 2010. And then I just started posting on there with a little shitty picture I found. And then that was the start of it.
Nice.
Dude, we're gonna have to try and dig up that we're gonna try and big up that we're gonna try and dig up that previous account and
it's still there.
We gotta find this.
You know what? It should still be the same. Actually, now that I think about it, I didn't change unless it's been so long. I mean, I maybe made a few little additions to it, but I still have a few things got deleted. But if I went all the way back, you could probably still see like the Breakbit Day stuff.
Oh wow,
still on there. Yeah.
So you were doing stuff with like the Mr. Simon crew.
He came out, he randomly reached out to me on YouTube, I think one time, and was like, hey man, I run a net label. I didn't even know what the hell that was really at the time.
Right.
And I'm like I said, I was just posting some tracks. I mean, I didn't even know how many people ever really even saw it. And then I was like, yeah, man, why the hell not? Never done an album or anything like that. So I just made like a compilation, I think, for my first, it was just tracks I was working on at the time. And then that kind of started and jumped in with that little crew for a while.
Was that Familiar Sounds, the compilation, or was that?
That was the Familiar Sounds. That was the very first album or release I ever did. Yeah,
dude,
yeah,
nice.
Yeah, and that's where Dom and I kind of like totally stole the name of this channel, this YouTube channel, which most people are hearing this on. Familiar Sounds / Collaborate right now, but we started off.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. The name just kind of hit because I was using a lot of old timey kind of samples, and I think that's where the name or something came from.
Yeah, it's dope. I really like it.
Thank you.
When you first started out, like making music with like Familiar Sounds and sample based stuff, were there any artists in particular? I mean, Pogo obviously that kind of like inspired you where you went like, oh shit, I want to do this.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's still, even though I was just thinking about it actually the other day, talking with my old friends. I mean, I've always been just a big music fan in general. I mean, obviously, I guess that goes to the territory. But I had a lot of musician friends, and we would all just kind of geek out together, listen to all sorts of stuff. And in that era in particular, I mean, it was kind of like a slow transition from like, say, late high school, mid high school, from like hardcore, straight up, like Tupac and some stuff like that, to more of just the beat side of things. And then, Nujabes, all those artists under that kind of moniker, just that chill hop kind of ambient or trip hop sort of stuff. DJ Shadow.
Hell yeah.
God, there's some names. I'm trying to reach back. I wish I could remember them all. And then I have to say really hit big though was when I found like the Brain Feeder type stuff, like Flying Lotus, Lepalux, and then stuff like Chigito more recently. I mean, there's tons,
Yeah.
tons of stuff that I'm like, oh man, I love this, and I would love to just emulate that in certain ways.
Yeah. Well, I would say even like you've managed to kind of come up with a sound that is so uniquely you. Like like you could literally pick out any track of yours and I would immediately know it's a Billinski track. It's often it's not something I can immediately put my finger on, but the vibe is so undeniably you, and I gotta give you props for really finding your sound like that. And
I don't know how I did, to be honest. It's just what comes out. Like I unfortunately can't seem to do much different from that. Whatever it is that I might have. It's rare, but I've had moments where like I feel like making a certain. Maybe I have like something in mind, like a really dancey track from somebody, and that was just kind of the vibe I was feeling at the time. And then next thing you know, what comes out is what comes out. And I just, not trying for anything in particular. It's just what comes naturally, and I don't know how to get around.
Hey man,
that.
whatever you're doing, it's working. Keep it up.
Thank you. I'm glad you guys are digging it. I mean, I can't say that it's a certain style for sure, that I'm definitely going for. Just the only thing I know to do.
Yeah.
One thing I like to ask other like Plunderphonics artists is like, what's your process of finding samples? Because for everyone's a little bit different. Either they're sampling stuff they really like, or they're finding brand new stuff, or they're digging through records, or they're, just sampling stuff from earlier in their life. Is there any specific thing that you tend to go towards when you're digging through samples?
There's been a whole bunch of different things. I'd say like in general, I try and go for very open tracks that don't have nothing too busy, because those are obviously harder to work with. And I prefer to try and find things that are hopefully pretty abstract and not like I don't go to like top 100 tracks or anything like that, not just for the scary reasons of trying to mix those, but also just trying to be as unidentifiable as possible.
Right.
But I'm open. I mean, I've been watching them. I was trying to think of, I don't know why this pops in my head, because this was, probably 8 years ago. But like, say, watching Rosemary's Baby, and there was like a little thing in there, and I was like, oh my God, I love that. I want that. And I remember looking it up later and getting the soundtrack and getting apart from that. So obviously soundtracks, whether it be something I already knew ahead of time, or if I'm in the middle of watching. I even heard something in like a weird space documentary one time, and I was like, ooh, I love that. I want to mess with that. But like, I guess to go back to like, in general, I'll just browse like vinyl sites, and I would love to do, it's all mostly digital. Like I wish I've always wanted to go around and do actual crate digging, but just with the money and the time expenses and the amount I would work on stuff, it'd be like, it wouldn't have worked.
Right.
I still hope to maybe at some point, maybe give that a little shot, but yeah, I mean, I just start searching. It's just it's kind of fun, like that excitement of like, I don't know what I'm going to find today. So yeah, just digging mostly. But I mean, yeah, I could be watching something, I could hear something. I mean, I'm open to anything. But my general process is I just start digging around on, various playlists and just trying to find something cool that I haven't used.
Yeah. Once you have all of your sample, like you've got a collection of samples together and you want to like try and make something out of it, do you find that there's usually a certain element that you always start with, or does it kind of change and flex depending on the vibe, I guess?
I would definitely say that it varies. I probably do some things more often than I even realize. I mean, I'll go back and forth. Sometimes I'll start with like a rhythm first to get like, I know I want to go for a certain type of groove. And then I'll just build around that. Or sometimes I'll just start, I'll drag like, maybe as low as 2 or 3, usually not much lower than that. And, as many as like 10 or 12 tracks, and just start throwing them all in Slice X and stuff in FL Studio. Yep. And then I just start digging through stuff that I like. And I'm very disorganized in the way that I work, but I've been doing it for so long that it makes sense to me now. And I've too corrupted to change to set in my ways to try and be better. And thankfully I've gotten a little better with my video work on the separate and professional setting, but I still haven't managed to bring that to this for some reason. I don't know why.
I feel the same way, man. If any other producers saw my FL projects, they would run away screaming.
It's a mess, yeah. It looks nothing like what you see in all the adverts.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's a clunky mess. But I feel like that's the open and flexibility that I get, because I'm very, I guess just flexible. That's the best word I can come up with, I guess, on that. So yeah, no set way, but I just started looking for little pieces, and then I just constantly build from there. I mean, you kind of lose yourself once you get going.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I guess we of course want to listen to the album, but one of the question.
There's no time.
There's no time. There's no time. One of the questions I had. This is my last question. I promise. We'll stop interrogating you.
For now.
I'm always curious to
think
know
about stuff.
Yeah, I know it's hard to be on that end and have people pestering you.
No, I don't mind.
Oh, sweet. All right. So you mentioned FL a couple times, and I'm always interested to know what producers are using. Are you mainly FL? Do you ever dabble in other stuff? And kind of the secondary question is there any hardware that you like to? You got any go-to hardware as well?
As far as the first part, I've dabbled in Ableton, Pro Tools. I've had a friend that used Cubase. I never really did it myself. Collaborated with, in fact, one of the guys on the album is one who he always uses Ableton. So I'm very, I guess, versed in seeing it a lot, and I didn't do a whole lot myself in it. But as far as my own stuff, no. I mean, once I kind of jumped on FL, it stole my heart.
Yeah.
And I've pretty much stuck with it the whole time. And then hardware, I've kind of jumped. I bought my first beat pad that I had. It was like a really popular one. Just a key. It's like an Akai 49 MPK or whatever. And that's when I first finally got into being able to get some keys. And I never really, the pad part for drums just never really clicked for me too much. At least at the time. But that was the first thing. And then eventually I got in the machine, and I liked that a lot, but the workflow is so different than what I used to do that I ended up just using the software and the sounds of it rather than the actual hardware itself. And I still have it. Just really stopped using a long time ago just because I was so set. I'd already been, probably 4 years in by the time that I got the machine. And then now the one that I would say that I almost always do use hardware-wise is just my Juno, tapping on it right here, my little Juno keyboard. It's not little, it's 89 keys, but that I do use just for, playing synths and everything. And so that's probably my main go-to, hardware-wise.
Did you play keys before you got into making beats and stuff like that?
Or
did you kind of teach yourself along the way?
I'm not good. I'm still horrible at, say, compared to someone who's more traditionally trained, like Pat, I guess, for example, he's really good at jamming out on the keys. I've messed around with my parents' old keyboard when I was a kid, and they, got me piano lessons, and not making it sound like there's even more of a background in keys than there is. I just always dabbled in. I played drums for a little bit in 6th grade. And then I actually got into guitar for a while, and I kind of actually want to get that again because I was doing that for a good while, and I've never really used a whole lot in recordings, which is a shame because I always wanted to do that. And then keys just kind of came in, really, once I started getting back into the actual production side of things. That's when I started playing keys again because they just go so well, playing all the synths and VSTs and everything. So I guess I kind of lost track. I don't know if I'd expand a little more than your question, but
nope, that's perfect, man. That was great.
But yeah, still, dabble about as much as I probably did when I was a kid. Just actually record it now.
Right.
And therein lies the trickiness.
All right, Bill. This is the most important question that you will be asked tonight. What is your favorite Collaborate album?
God. Guys,
put the man on the spot. Why don't you?
Right on the spot with that. Honestly, I'd say The Up Late,
dude.
Yeah,
okay.
It's just such a great play on the name. I love the art for it. I forgot who did that, but that was very.
That was a collab. I think Jeesh and Pat and Sapien Alien.
Oh, nice.
I think they,
Yeah.
Well, even
everyone
better.
kind of contributed. That was awesome.
Except me, unfortunately. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and me.
But no, and then just the feel of it. I mean, I think it was pretty true to the name. Everyone kind of went in that dream, sort of. I wish there were more words to like dreamlike, and I mean, we all kind of hover around that area in general. Say for the last rap album, people still. I was probably the only one I think that actually went with acapellas and more straight up rap. I thought maybe other people would be doing that. That's why
I liked that a lot, and I'm glad you did, because I think there were a few of us who were kind of like, yeah, we could do that, but I don't think anyone would have pulled it off as well as you did, because it's hard to put acapellas on a beat and make it feel natural.
Yeah,
and I think you did that really well. I was super impressed.
It's it's a work in progress. I've certainly I mean, hell, looking back, actually, kind of answer one of your questions from earlier.
Yeah,
that was one of the first things I could say that really, even before Pogo. Now that I think about it, I forgot what I was listening to. It was like this really great British kind of ambient beat. Oh God, Hood is the name of it. It's an interesting band. They're like, I honestly don't even know how to describe them, but I'm pretty sure Hood. If you ever want to check them out at some point, just HOOD.
Word.
And it was one track in there, and I don't know why. I think I was getting into rap at the time, and I was just like, I want this song, but with Biggie on top of it. I just remember being like, I want to do that. Like, I want to make, I just want to, and so I think like combining the two, and so I guess one of the first things I ever wanted to do was kind of take an acapella over some like more dreamy, kind of laid back trip hop, or whatever you want to call it, type background beat. And so I've always been kind of jumping on, even though I didn't do a lot of them early on, and I still got a lot of work to do on them, but yeah, always trying to combine the two in a flowy manner, because it can be tough sometimes to make them sound as one, especially in this kind of genre. But yeah,
right,
yeah. Sorry, and I forgot the initial question again. Kind of went off there.
No, you nailed it, man. Yeah. Sorry to put you on the spot like this, but we appreciate you jumping on. It's always fun to ask questions to someone we haven't talked to yet in this manner. It's always nice to like learn everyone's process and what inspired them and all that stuff. Sure. So yeah, thanks again.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, but you've got a new album, a newish album? Is this a newish?
Newish. That's how I had to change the title on SoundCloud.
So this is On the Horizon, and when did this come out?
God, the way time has blended together so recently, it's hard to say. It could be last week, it could be 10 years ago. I want to say the end of last year.
Yeah, I've got the answer for you, Bill, because I'm looking at the Bandcamp page. You released this on November the 24th, 2019.
Okay, close.
Yeah, that's the end of last year. You got it, man.
Well, that one, there was a lot of issues with the initial release, so it's also a little more confusing on that. So,
Gotcha.
A little later than I initially expected.
Hey, happens.
So one thing we've been trying to do lately is kind of, listen to some albums and dissect them. And we're going to do some kind of like bigger, Plunderphonics albums from, that are classic. Like we did Donuts a few weeks ago.
Nice.
But my favorite thing to do that I'm hoping we get in the habit of doing this is actually having the artist on and actually listening to the album with the artist. We can't do that with Jay Dilla, of course, unfortunately. But, since you're here on the call with us here today, CollaboRadio, we figure we'll listen to one of your albums, your newish album. And I've heard this before. I know Jack's heard this before, but kind of listen through it, give our thoughts, and you can interject anytime and tell us any interesting facts about any of these songs. If there's something you sampled you want people to know about, if there's something that led to the creativity of something being created that you want us to know about, literally anything, totally interject at any time, because I think people are going to want to hear your input on this album.
Yeah,
sure.
It's kind of like a DVD extra, where they do the commentary over the movie.
What happened to those?
I don't know. I missed those. Those are great, man.
I mean, just bring DVDs back, I guess.
Well, yeah, that's the first problem.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. And I hopefully I don't get too caught up on like a story from something if something does come up from It was a long process, I'll say that. So
yeah.
Dude, yeah,
sounds cool.
absolutely.
Anything and everything is welcome.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
I will take the lead of just like saying the title of the track when it's appropriate.
Yeah.
And other than that, just have fun and
good luck, have fun.
Yeah.
good luck. Good luck, have fun. You know it.
Yeah. Have fun and good luck. Yes.
God. Little shout out there. Remember that.
Yeah.
What do you carry? And is it true that whales sing because the ocean itself can't cry? Or
All right, this is the opening track. It's called On the Horizon.
Yeah, and we're immediately brought in to this very atmospheric
tell me,
kind of
what do
ambience.
you carry?
Mm.
Can it possibly be the water of life?
I did want to start with something that kind of pulls you in. I mean, the Atmo is something I went for big time on this one, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. I like a good intro that kind of like sets up the world building. It's like, here's what you're gonna be experiencing.
So, I think you asked earlier, I think maybe it was the vocals. Is that where you were curious where it came from?
Yeah, that kind of that sentence at the beginning, that sample.
Someone I had messed with before, Anne Borchwith, I'm probably not saying her name right. She is based somewhere in Europe, but she does all these amazing harp tracks mostly. And that's a big part of what I sampled in here. And she also did some work with a poet and another, like a flute player, a bunch of different things. And I just asked her if she would be okay with me using this and send her the track and everything. Because I just loved, and I was looking for something to kind of play in the beginning of that. I already had the airy part kind of established, and I wanted to kind of enhance that. And sure enough, that clicked when I found it, and worked it out with her to be able to use it.
Nice.
You should
Nice,
definitely
dude.
check her stuff out. She is fantastic.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, maybe we can link her in the description there.
Oh, definitely.
Jack.
Definitely.
Like I said, I'm butchering her name, but Harp and Soul Music on SoundCloud is her moniker, something along those lines. I can link it myself if
Hell yeah.
you guys
Awesome.
have trouble finding it.
Dope, yeah. Dude, it's so nice.
This part is a whole mix match of things. I cannot even remember the main. There's a bell sound sample that I had found. I ended up using it again at some other point, but that formed kind of the base of this little section here. And then just in kind of my usual standard, I just start throwing all sorts of things and trying them out and just kind of layer on top of layer.
Yeah.
So it's
Wow, I love that horn right there.
yeah. I usually don't do such heavy kind of I was trying to find a hard way to put in words, like it was from like a what the hell is the not samba, it's like a more like a bossa nova-ish kind of track where it
Okay,
came
nice.
from, and then so just like a big chunk of like the horns and some strings in there, and I don't usually use such big things, or at least I try not to, and it fit really oddly at first with what I had going, but then like I said, fiddle around enough and you surprise yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely. All right, one thing I've wondered about your tracks is the capitalization consistency. Is especially on this album, you'll notice like all the first letters are capitalized and the rest aren't. Was that a conscious decision, or?
It's funny you mentioned that, just because I've had times where I caught myself like oh wait, no, I had this one the other way. Should I maybe? And no, it's just in the moment. It's just how I feel like how it looks right then and there. And then sometimes I forget about it. And, no consistency whatsoever.
Nice. I've been wondering that because on the Collaborate records, I think most of them have been lowercase, all lowercase letters, and of course I try to enter them in exactly as the artist sent them over.
Right.
But yeah, I've often wondered. I'm like, I wonder if this is like his signature. You know, like the Billinski signature is everything's lowercase.
It could be. It is now.
Yeah, dude.
Why not?
That's what I'm talking about.
But no, definitely did not plan for that.
I'm a human being. I exist.
All right, we got Next Step, track 2.
So I wanted to keep. I initially had this. It's in the later tracks, like 1998. This great interview with Rod Serling, and I love those old timey interviews. I don't know, just the sound quality, and it's just something very comforting, kind of about those old recordings. And so I kind of initially wanted to have it like pick out the best parts and have that scattered throughout. But it wasn't enough that I felt like the words hit to the theme I was going for. And so I'm trying to remember where I found Twilight Zone. That was a Twilight Zone quote.
Sure.
That's what it was.
Right.
Yeah, so I was still in the same area there. I knew it was similar, and that's from an episode where he's being God, I cannot remember the name of the episode. I'm sorry. He's like on trial, and it's kind of like a 1984 kind of world. You know, a lot of Twilight had that kind of realm. And just a very dystopian kind of thing, and he's kind of making a final plea. So the origin, that's where that came from.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, but I do love using skits. You know, I don't use them as much as I used to, but as long as they kind of play a purpose, hopefully. And like I said, I initially had kind of a theme for it throughout, but ended up being a little different in the end result.
Oh, sure.
Track 3, These Foolish Things. I love
This one took a long
this
time.
vibe coming in here. Sounds like a little mysterious. I like that.
Oh, that guitar
Y'all
sample.
catch that first sample? Y'all catch
I feel
that?
like I think
You have heard it.
I have heard that.
I know you've heard it. You definitely heard
I
it
know
somewhere.
I've heard that. I don't know. It's not
Where
coming to
have
me
you
where I've
heard
heard it though. Fuck.
You got this.
I'll let it sink in.
Yeah.
And this was
damn
the first track, not to distract you from your trying to find
Go for it.
I'll help you if you need to. Was I had a lot of live percussion, thankfully, worked in here from a good friend of mine who is an amazing percussionist. The Jack Hallway. And he's under the moniker Nothing Masters. I've done some beat battles with him. Very talented.
Oh, nice.
But he's an amazing drummer. And so he did almost a lot of the percussion you hear in this track. I had kind of an initial groove going, and he just built it with the shakers and he really helped make it what it was.
Nice, dude. Yeah, that's so dope. I really like this track. When I listened to this most recently, I think this was one of my favorites in that listen through.
Yeah, I definitely one of mine too. I mean, this is one I probably spent. It's hard to say. I mean, this whole thing was such a long undertaking, but this one was a doozy for sure at first.
Right.
It went through a lot of different variations, but I love where it turned out.
I can imagine.
Yeah, he went crazy on the drums here. It's like
damn.
he did it all in like the drum part actually was a lot quicker than the rest of it, and I think it was only the third take of this that he had sent me, and I'm like, holy shit. Yes. This is
nice.
You hit the nail on the head, man. Like that. We worked so well together all these times, so he knew what I was going for. And I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, that's such a great resource to have.
Yeah.
How do you how do you collaborate? Like, do you basically finish the track and then send it to him, or?
It varies. Unfortunately, he was someone I used to. We would just jam out in the same room when I lived up in Nashville still. And then I moved back here around the time that we actually started working on it. It's just bad timing. So I would usually, especially for this, I already had some pretty solid ideas down. And then he would just kind of groove with it, send me something, and we would just kind of go back and forth until we kind of landed on the mark.
Nice. That's awesome.
So also, little thing is the next step was initially the end of this track here, but I had multiple people tell me that it was just very long, and it was a very different kind of change, even though I was using some of the same sounds. So I decided to shorten it and keep it like an interlude track, and then I did a lot of arranging on the placement of where these tracks are. And I feel good with how it came out, because I don't think people would even know that was a part of the same track.
That's great. I love little tidbits like that. That's why we do this stuff, man. Mm-hmm. You know, because I would have never, thought of that. It's so cool.
I almost forgot too until I was just looking. I was like, oh, yeah, right. It was for a long time too. That was kind of a more recent change, closer to release. I mean, that was probably a month right before I actually put it out that I made that change, and then I just went crazy on fine tuning some of the last little tracks there. So yeah.
Oh yeah. By the way, this is track 4 called "I Was So."
Ooh. It was a cool little moment where the atmosphere just kind of fell away for a hot second to bring this out. Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, I know. This is so sick.
Yeah, I kind of went all over on this one.
Yeah. It's not a bad thing, though.
This is the sort of track that I listen to and just get like a little depressed because I'm like, God damn it.
This was another tough one to work out with a percussionist friend of mine. He had a really tough time nailing the groove that I was trying to get him to go for here. And he nailed it, particularly with the hi-hat part, being a little behind. Yeah, he had some trouble with that, and but we ended up linking through it, so it was great. But yeah, that was this whole section was a tough part. I went through a lot of different variations on this one.
There's just so much going on in this entire song. I really, really like this one.
Yeah, I did keep adding to this one. It's a lot of synth stuff I ended up doing on top, and
yo, I loved that synth right there. Yeah, right there in the left channel.
Going for like kind of like that high vocal, kind of high pitched sort of sound, even though it's not a vocal sound, but that's what I wanted to mimic it, kind of in a sense. Mm-hmm. Same with that part there.
Oh, I hear that. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. What synthesizer is that, or any idea?
Just off of the Juno. I can't remember exactly what kind it was, but I mean, I'll just go through tons, trying like, this one's kind of cool, and then till it hits.
That's the sort of synth, that sound right there, that just like brings me back to my childhood. I don't know what it is about it. It's just like probably from the right time period, I guess.
Right.
Wow.
So this was the start of that interview that I was talking about, and it was tough because he was initially talking about writing sci-fi actually and the television side, but I was hoping that the idea was kind of how you get this kind of music across. I had a lot of stuff I was thinking about at the time as I put it all together, but obviously, it's up to the person who's listening to really get that out of it. But it was also play on the way he was talking about things felt like now, but then he said 1998, because this was probably the 50s, late 50s, as like some distant future, and I just thought something was kind of funny about that. So I really hovered on that idea.
Yeah, it's crazy how old like Twilight Zone is.
Yeah, that first one.
Like one of the first episodes involves like like going to space, and like you realize like that was out before like America had gone to the moon.
Right.
You know, like it predates that. It's like, what?
The Cold War era is strong throughout. that much is true.
Oh, for sure, man, for sure.
But still very relevant, though. A lot of the same themes. That's why I do love Black Mirror, the new show that's out now. It's very reminiscent,
Yeah.
but yeah, it hit all the social issues and just it's so old, but yeah, still very, very relevant, though, in a lot of ways, except for the Cold War part.
Absolutely.
Right.
So I don't know if you guys could recognize any of the stuff in here, but there's an old movie that Pogo has touched in here. I don't know if it rings true at all.
Okay.
Very old.
It's not like Oliver, right?
Oh my goodness! Right out the gate.
Is it? Yeah,
Oh my
baby,
God.
let's go.
Wow. Yeah, you know your stuff.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully the vocals stick. I mean, I didn't want to completely smother them, so I hope they would be somewhat identifiable. Yeah, a lot of Oliver samples in here. A lot of the strings, obviously not the guitar, but yeah, all the big vocals. And initially I started this track with I can't remember the name now, and it was more of an R&B vibe, so it went through some changes. But I love where it ended up.
Nice.
Not to throw the train totally off the rails, but can we go back briefly to that guitar sample from
From the
what
other
was it,
track? Yeah.
3?
Yeah, the ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, because I know I've heard that.
Jack is still playing it over
and I'm
his
still
head
like,
trying to figure it out.
fuck.
Oh goodness. Yeah, sorry, I already forgot. It's a movie with Jim Carrey, if that rings a bell to you.
There are many movies with Jim Carrey.
I'm sorry, you don't need to do a guess who. It was Eternal Sunshine.
Oh,
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
of
yeah.
course.
Oh, now I want to go back.
Ever since I heard that track, I've always wanted to mess with it. And I did a little track long time ago, but I don't think I did it justice. So yeah.
That's that's crazy because I I have sampled quite a bit of that same movie. So you think I would have?
Everyone's got their own
noticed
interpretation
that.
of it. But it's such a gorgeous. I mean, the
That's sick,
soundtrack
dude.
is so beautiful in that movie. So and particularly I think it's Phone Call is the actual track.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, it
yeah.
is. And
Yep.
you know what?
Yeah, it's a beautiful track.
I remember hearing that track, one from the movie, and then also like I was doing a theater apprenticeship with a local theater, and we do this thing called viewpoints, where we'll take music that has a certain vibe to kind of get the actors in the right headspace, and that was one of the songs that we had. And I'm like, I've heard this before. What the fuck? That's what it was.
You guys ever listen to Jay Electronica?
Jay Electronica.
No.
No.
Jay Electronica, the rapper? Well, way back in
No,
the
I
day,
don't think so.
he's kind of made a resurgence. I actually haven't listened to him in a long time, but he did like a no drum freestyle with that track, and that just, I don't know, it's so good. If you ever go back, try and, I couldn't even know the name of it, but I think he titled it something with Eternal or something like that. But yeah, that's what, I already saw it in the movie and I loved it there, but that kind of brought it back to my attention. This was way back in like 2010. But yeah. That finally scratches that itch where that was. I knew you would know it.
Wow.
Yeah.
The other Jim Carrey movie that I was thinking was Truman Show, but
That
Yeah.
would actually be a good
You know.
one. There's some good.
a lot of good soundtrack samples in that too.
Love that movie.
Yeah. I know I've missed a couple here, but this is track 7 called The Edge. Or The Edge. I'm not sure what Bill was thinking at the time, but
I'll leave that.
it's one of
I'll
those
leave that
two.
up to you. It is kind of the edge. Like I've always kind of. It's been tough for me to like really go on a full concept. But I guess the concept of this is sort of a transition. I guess for me, I was kind of hoping I was getting to another level, kind of, or at least progressing a little bit. Using a lot more live percussion and a lot of new things kind of going on in my life. So it was sort of like on the horizon of like a new a new era, I guess, as you say, and it's kind of goes through, and the edge was, at least the time that I was making it, was sort of that like kind of peak before you jump, I guess. That's where the name came from, though. But I mean, as far as its placement and the overall, I'll come up with these ideas about it, and then some of them get a little murky, but yeah. And this was the first track that I ever did with the live percussion with the guy I was talking about.
Nice. That's beautiful right there.
And that's how I knew that we had to do a lot more. So this came out like, I initially started it in 2016, I think.
Whoa.
Yeah. A lot of old stuff here that I just worked on for a long time and kept
I love it,
kept rechanging and retweaking, and
I love that pizzicato of the strings in the left channel.
there's some more
it's beautiful.
more Twilight Zone going on here too. I don't know if you guys can catch that one.
No. Is it the keys?
No, it's was it the vocals?
The vocal? Yeah.
Really? Huh. Would not have guessed that. What's the context?
I've done one other mix of it. That's one of my favorite things out of there. But the "Come Wander with Me." It's where the episode where the guy finds the ladies with the guitar, and he's like it's one of the most haunting, pretty songs I've ever heard still to this day, and I love messing with it. I've made actually 3 tracks, so I think I sampled it differently, but yeah, I can't stay away from that one. I don't know what it is.
Oh, damn.
That's sick. I love that kind of sample that just like you keep wanting to do it justice, so you keep trying to do new stuff with it. It's so cool. I love that feeling.
And I love finding like I think even for this one, actually, I'm trying to remember because it could have been I'll try and find a lot of versions of it too, like people doing their own acapellas and all sorts of stuff, and I'll try and kind of mix match and combine those. I think actually that is what I did on that one.
That's really smart. I like that approach.
Yeah, that's amazing. You just get a whole different take on, but with the same vibe, but a whole different feel, and then of course you add your own. It's just it's fun. It's very fun.
All right, we got track number 8. This is called "To the Sky."
Also another one of my favorite singers. Angela McCluskey, if anyone has ever heard her.
That name does ring a bell.
Very well known for her collaboration with somebody. Big electronic pop kind of band. There was a huge song called "Breathe" from back in the day. Ringing any bells?
Oh.
No, I'm sorry, man.
Telepop?
I'm sorry.
You said Angela McCluskey?
Yeah.
Telepop music, yeah. All the vocals that they use. Angela
that's
McCluskey.
her.
That's who it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I always wondered, I was like, who is this singing? I love all her voice and all their tracks in general, but I had to find out who that actually was. And she's got some pretty good solo projects on her own too. So
Nice.
One thing I like about sampling culture is, you kind of become a scholar of whatever it is you're sampling, because it sounds like you, like me, like to dig into the context of where the samples come from. Yeah, I love that aspect of it. So thanks for sharing all this info.
of course, I mean that is there's so much stuff out there. It's like some of it just gets lost, and you always think like I'm gonna run out of stuff. It's like no, there's just so much stuff I've never even heard of someone like wow, but no, he did a little bit on this thing, and it's too much fun. There's a lot of digging to be had out there, that's for sure.
All right, we got track number 9, the final track. This one is called "Wake Up."
So this track started with another soundtrack from a movie. I don't know if you guys would know it. I don't know why I keep wanting to do these guessing games to y'all. I'm sorry. It's different kind of like,
it's kind of fun.
Because
I like
kind of feel like I know it, but I'm like, why would they? It involves martial arts though, and it was a very hit movie.
Karate Kid?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But not the first one. It was the second one.
Okay.
Ah!
Not as good of a movie, but the soundtrack. There's a particular track in there when Miyagi had lost his dad. And I mean, I remember crying in the scene just because of the music when I was a kid. And I always wanted to mess with that, and it finally came back to me all this time later. So that kind of started. I mean, it went in all sorts of places from there, but that was kind of the start of this one for sure. So if you ever go back and see it, you might recognize it. I don't know. A lot of strings in it, and it's one of the prettiest tracks though. It's a gorgeous track.
Nice.
Oh.
And I think I was really trying to get a lot of the. I know you guys have listened to stuff like Sora or, but not so much on the glitch side. But there's a lot of other. I'm trying to find a good way to even describe it. Like something about that kind of genre with all the clicks and like in bloopy things going on, all the little. I was really trying to emulate that kind of style. So that was another big part of this one, I remember. I can't find a good way to describe it really, but just something about like
you're good.
Kind of Japanese glitch and pop kind of genre out there. Not as big as it should be. Very surprising.
Ooh, love that transition. Is this a callback to a section of an earlier song?
Right here?
Yeah.
It is actually. And I'm trying to remember exactly what. It's a good catch, though.
Yeah.
That is a thing.
Dude, nice.
That's a good catch. Because once I started kind of getting everything a lot more solidified, I was going back to other tracks that I had started way earlier and tried to kind of build them a little more with other stuff that I had been using on the overall piece. I can't remember exactly what right now in my mind. It's escaping me, but yeah, that is a damn good catch.
That's awesome. I love that idea, doing that.
Well, since I'll sometimes go in all sorts of places in one track, and I love transitioning to, I got kind of ADD sometimes with my tracks. I try and at least keep it, a little centered so you know where you are by using the same elements and stuff like that.
Well, that's one thing we definitely picked up on the most recent time we listened to Donuts. Me and Jack and Riverman, was like all the transitions and kind of the role they play in the overall vibe. So, I love transitions.
Oh
man.
yeah, you can never have too
I think it's because I do them really poorly. So when I hear someone like just having a blast with them doing crazy stuff, I really dig that.
Never stop with the transitions. You never know where it might go. So,
dude, I know. I love the adventurous spirit of a hard transition. I really love that.
True that.
It's just like you're enjoying this thing. Well, you're also going to enjoy this thing,
And where am I going
right now? It's like you're the tour guide.
Is this the end? Oh,
yep.
No, it's a transition.
Oh, well, guys, that was On the Horizon by our boy Billinski. That was the whole thing.
That was a quick one.
Jack, tell me your thoughts. Tell me your thoughts on the Horizon.
It's yet another delightful addition from Billinski that is so atmospheric and relaxing. And honestly, I'm going to be a little real with you guys here. My anxiety's not been great as of late, just due to all sorts of things that have been happening.
Yep.
And like I was a little nervous about like kind of going into the pod like with my anxiety where it was, but that just kind of brought me back down to earth a little bit, and like thank you for that, because fuck.
Hey man, it's good to know that does it, because I totally know where you're coming from there, and maybe that's why the kind of music that I do comes out the way it does, because I definitely have issues with that from time to time, and I don't, maybe it's a subconscious thing to kind of help bring myself down, and hopefully anyone else who needs it at the time. So I'm glad you get that from that.
Yeah, thank you. It was good timing that we were doing this today. But yeah, I'll definitely be giving this album another listen, and I'll have to go back through your discography and give everything else a listen as well, because it's been a little while.
Far back.
Oh.
If you go too far into the Billinski, you'll never return.
Well, fortunately for me, I just don't have too many actual releases. That's the something I'm going to try and maybe change the way I do things in the future. But I mostly would just post endless tracks on SoundCloud and just kind of with no rhyme or reason to it. And I was trying to think, the last album that I put out was, I was still living in Tallahassee at the time. It just feels like a lifetime ago. So, it probably actually won't take you very far to dig back.
I mean, I'll have to go back through your SoundCloud as well, because like that's where I've heard a lot of your stuff, and you've got a lot of stuff on your SoundCloud. So I'll have fun with that.
I think I'm going to be running out of room again soon. I gotta figure out.
It's so tough.
You pay more money or start getting rid of stuff. It's a tough situation to put you in.
Yeah.
So I was going to say all those beat battles, would be a lot better. And I had thought of doing this a long time ago, and I really should, is just compiling all those into like little, since it wouldn't be like, concept albums or anything, maybe little mixtapes, like volumes, like the beat battle volumes. I mean, goes back, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years.
Wow.
And that could help maybe clear up some room on my SoundCloud too, if I didn't have them all up there. But that's really the only place, my only outlet for the most part, except from Bandcamp. So I don't want to lose it.
I was gonna say, as long as you're still putting the songs that you have to take off of your SoundCloud, put those somewhere else that people could find it. Because it's all gold, man.
I mean, I have deleted a few things in the past I feel bad about, but I mean, that does happen. Or even one I found on there, I'd actually uploaded to SoundCloud, but it was like 5-6 years ago. And I saw that and I was like, what is this private track that I had stuck on there? I did end up actually putting that one out, but it's just like, whoa. Cannot believe that was sitting here this whole time, taking up my space on top of it.
Yeah. Hashtag goddamn it, SoundCloud.
I know, it's such a love-hate relationship because it's like
their app sucks.
It's a necessary evil, I guess, because that's our outlet for a lot of producers. But yeah, it's horrible. I hate so much of it.
I also need to honestly get more stuff on Spotify. It's just I don't know anyone that really listens to SoundCloud. Like their app is pretty bad from my experience. So I got to find a way maybe to get all that stuff onto something like Spotify where it's a lot easier to listen to, I feel.
I know. I always worry about like actually publishing stuff with samples, but
yeah, that is a tough one.
People get away with it.
I was gonna say that's exactly. I try not to make anything too obvious, and then I've seen super obvious things out there all the time, and I'm like, well, what are the rules here? I don't.
5-second rule.
Yeah, it's the Wild West, man. It's pretty much just give it your shot,
Oh, like when
and then if you get a cease and desist, you got to move on.
It's like when YouTube first came out, the true Wild and West of the web.
Wow, yeah.
Oh, I remember those days.
Yep.
It's good times. E-Bombs World and Newgrounds.
Oh my god.
Oh, Gall.
Yeah. We're digging way back. Yeah.
Way back.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Different world.
I think it's still around too. I don't know why it would be, but it doesn't serve the same purpose anymore. But last I heard it was. I haven't checked.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
What was the one that was trying to be like the alternative to YouTube? Like Vimeo? Right?
Vimeo's
Do people
still
use
around.
that?
Vimeo's still around, but that's mostly for like educational stuff, and like I know a lot of filmmakers use that.
We have to use it for work. We put all of our videos on there, but honestly, I've never used it beyond that. And it's actually pretty clean, though. I can see why it doesn't have that same. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. I've never used it as like a personal account, but it's functional. I'll say that it's definitely functional. It's weird to get used to. YouTube has a more homey feel, I guess, but it's been around in our lives for a lot longer. So
Yeah.
Dude, I know.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's wild.
But yeah, thank you again for sitting down with us and going through your album and answering our questions today, Bill. It's
Dude,
such an honor to have you here.
It's been great, man. I started listening to a few of the ones. I mean, you guys, you got a great little. I mean, the podcast feel. Y'all got the voices for it. Y'all got the pacing. I mean, it hit right out the gate. So I was like, dang, I didn't know you guys were doing this.
Yeah.
Dude, thanks, man. I appreciate
'Cause
that.
I love, driving to work and all that, man. I love listening to podcasts, getting more into them. And,
Oh, yeah.
And you guys got the feel right out the gate, so I love it.
Well, thanks.
Appreciate it, man. Do you have any suggestions for us as a podcast, things we could do, things we could try? Like if you were a listener, like what would you want to hear on the Plunderphonics podcast?
Honestly, just more of what you guys are doing. Just bringing in more interesting peeps and keep your banter and just be as you are. I think that's probably what makes it so good. And I'm not much of a podcast expert or anything, so I can't think of any helpful technical or functional tips that might bring you up. But I mean, it's got a great feel as it is, so I wouldn't change much.
Sweet.
Thanks, man.
Dude, all right.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
It means a lot.
Well, we'd love to have you back on here
Anytime,
sometime.
If I ever release another album in the next 10 years, or
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. We can go backwards. We can listen to your other discography, anything you
let's not
want.
go too far back.
Now I'm extra curious.
You know how it is with those that love-hate of the old haunts that you
Oh, for sure.
I know.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Well, how about we'll get you and we'll get Pat on here and we could do the sound spectrum. Maybe we can get Dusty. We'll call him up and see if we can get him on.
No, I'd love that. Anytime. I mean, now that I finally got a functional mic, at least somewhat, and I'm all set up to go. Yeah. Anytime, guys.
Hell yeah. Bill, where can people find your stuff?
If they would just send me a letter and then I could get that preferably notarized, then I can respond to that, and then I'll send them a private link through the mail.
What a service.
Damn.
Awesome.
Honestly, just my SoundCloud. It's a shame I don't. I need to get better with getting some more functional platforms. I don't have my own website or anything. Just SoundCloud and YouTube and Bandcamp, I guess.
Is that soundcloud.com/Billinski or?
Yes. So
Okay, cool.
soundcloud.com/Billinski.
Sweet.
And Facebook, I guess, which I do not. I'm not too active on. Trying to get better with that. Yeah. So I guess those would be the big three.
Cool.
Dope.
Hell yeah.
One thing I wanted to mention. I meant to mention this at the top. Hopefully our listeners have made it all the way here to the end. But if you're looking for new music, obviously, it's relatively new. Go buy Billinski's album
Newish.
On the Horizon. Throw him some cash. But also, our good friend Sapient Alien just dropped a brand new album on Bandcamp. It's called Vowel Purity, and it's 10 hot tracks. Beautiful album artwork. Just give it a listen. It's dope. Have you listened to it yet, Jack?
I have. It's absolutely beautiful ambient soundscapes. Milo does like all the instrumentation and stuff himself too. Awesome. So like it's really dope. I highly recommend.
He's been at it for a long time too.
Yeah.
I think I remember seeing him on like Last FM, like 2011 era. He still had the Sapient Alien thing going on.
Yeah, and he was saying that this was his last ambient release. He's thinking for a good while. So so enjoy that. Yeah.
Hardcore rap.
Yeah, let's go.
Death metal
Dude,
rap.
that'd be the dopest transition. It's just like,
Watch out, Death Grips. Watch out. He's coming.
Sapient Alien, straight out of New Jersey. This is his hardcore rap album.
I've listened to it.
The only other news that I thought to mention, our boy Pat, P.SUS, has a couple new releases on YouTube. Go check those out.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, man, he's got two new singles on YouTube just dropped in the past week.
Shoot, yeah, I'm gonna jump on that.
And I mentioned this in the last podcast, but Pat and I did a track on the last mixtape, of course, called Business Partners, and I put out a video for that. And so definitely go check that out if you haven't seen that yet. It's really fun. I put way too much time into it, so
Hell yeah.
definitely go give that a listen and a watch.
Nonsense.
Steve, where can people find your stuff?
Oh, people can find my stuff on the internet. So unlike Billinski, you don't have to send me a letter.
I've heard of
You don't have to.
Old school ways are dead.
Honestly, I'm trying to bring back the Pony Express. So what I'm doing is just slapping a USB on a horse, and that'll eventually make it to your house. But if that's not an option for you, then you can find me at ThinkFishTank.com. You can find me on SoundCloud, Bandcamp, YouTube, and just search the word or phrase Think Fish Tank. I don't think it's a word, but it's a phrase.
The old-fashioned way.
Exactly.
Cool.
All right, Jack, hit us with your plugs, man.
I've got nothing in particular to promote right now, but you can find my stuff at soundcloud.com/Jawka or youtube.com/JawkaJabberwock. And one of these days I'll get around to actually releasing an album. One of these days. One of these days. But until then, just enjoy the random shit I have up there.
Oh, Jack, one teaser I'm going to put out is Jack and I are working on a collaborative track that you'll probably hear in 3 years. So stay posted for that.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and
I hope I'm not dead.
I sent off something that I had started, and I think that was like in March, or April,
maybe April or May. But yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah,
yeah,
it was, late April, I think actually.
Yeah,
and I haven't even done anything to it. I'm sorry, but I will.
That's fine.
That's the Think Fish Tank promise. I will eventually do something.
It's okay. Time is fake anyway.
I know, isn't it? Isn't it just?
Oh Lord. Well, gents, this has been a delight. Shall I roll in that outro music?
Yeah, roll in that fucking outro.
All right. Thank you again.
Peace, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Shimmering